Hey everybody. In part one of a two-part video, I'm going to show you how to make some amazing, realistic looking brick textures for your cards. This is very simple. It's a mixed media technique. And in part two, I'm going to show you the wood that you see here and show you how to texture that in a realistic way. Now, I find that this is easy and quick if you have a gel monoprinting plate. So I have that set up next to me, and I'm using some acrylics in dark brown and sort of a brick color, but a little bit darker brick color and more sort of cherry color than the paper that I chose to emboss. Now, you notice when you saw the close-up, when you emboss this pattern paper, which is really beautiful, by the way, by itself, that you can even get a little free distressing with this 3D embossing folder, where the embossing folder sort of goes through a little bit more forcefully than it does on cardstock. And that's just an added bonus of texture that I think works really, really well with this technique. Now, what I'm doing is using the brayer to add selective paint to some of the higher bricks. So what's cool about this embossing folder is some of the bricks are higher than others, just like you would see in a brick wall. And so those are the ones that are picking up the paint, and it gives you this fun, distressed, varied look that is just a hoot. I don't know how many different ways I can say fun, but I'm going to try to say them all in this video. So you'll notice when you see brick that there are both darker colors, and then there tend to be kind of almost whitewashed highlights. And I'm going to play that up a little bit with some white acrylic paint. And my brayer sheets are going to come into play later. So if you see a pretty pattern, don't ignore it. I'm taking a roll of gauze. This is just medical gauze. This is a texture tool that I use quite a bit. It's very inexpensive, and it can add a lot of texture with ink or paint or that kind of thing. And I'm adding subtle all over white with that. And then I'm switching to a sea sponge, which will give me kind of brighter white highlights than the sort of smoother gauze will. And this is what gives you that variation that makes this look so very realistic and just like a brick wall that you might see on the side of an alley on an old building in some fun downtown that you like to go to in your mind. I just love the variation. I think this is so cool, and it takes such an inexpensive tool like an embossing folder and just gives it so much possibility. So now I will switch colors. I took one of the brayer cleaning sheets from part one and part two of this video, and I'm using a sponge dauber and some teal ink to add just a little bit more of that blue color very randomly across this little brick wall texture that I have. I love these colors together. I think they're so fun. This would be beautiful on an art journal page. But I love complementary colors. You know that about me. So I'm also adding this beautiful gold and yellow paint, sort of a new gamboge, and then an ochre color. And I'm going to take the sponge dauber and just lightly swipe this paint on. So this is a very different texture than you saw me do with the paint in the previous little brick wall. This is more of a smoother laying down of a complementary color that just brightens this up so much and gives it so much life. I love these two colors together, just like a good old teal and turquoise and a new gamboge type color. That's probably one of my favorite go-to color combos that I will always love. So you can see how different these look. I don't even know if you'd really know that you were using the same products to create these two. So it gives a lot more life to your embossing folders, I think. And that's something I'm always trying to do. As you'll notice, like half of my videos are embossing videos. I just love embossing. What can I say? Now watch carefully on the left as I'm cleaning my brayer, because we're going to be using that brayer cleaning sheet to create an entirely different project. And so this is a fun process where you keep generating art materials to use. So it's not a 1-for-1, it's not a 2-for-1, it's a 3 or 4-for-1. So I took some of the colors that mixed on the plate. The yellow mixed with a little bit of white paint adds a nice highlight to that red brick wall. So this is the Brayer cleaning sheet that I was telling you about, and that grungy paint was just too much for me to resist. I had to use it on something. The colors are so beautiful. Again, it's sort of the opposite of the mostly teal, little bit of yellow brick wall that I created, and this one is mostly yellow, little bit of teal, just so appealing as a art piece. So this is going to be a third technique to do with this embossing folder, and this is one you're probably familiar with, where you ink up the side that you want to be darker, and in this case I want a darker grout in between the bricks, or I guess it's not grout, I think that's mortar, I don't know. Anyway, I wanted it darker. So I ran that through the embossing machine, and look at that. It makes the bricks pop out so much more against that dark mortar in between them. It's just a beautiful technique. So here are the various textures that are going to be in the next 2 videos. Some finished cards with this stunning Marion Bright die. And then this cute little lovely layers deer. I love him. For some sweet, sweet Christmas cards. So head over to my blog for more information. Check the description for supplies and a giveaway. And thanks so much for watching.